excited because she made an I backwards L love you daddy card. And then she's in 4th grade and she's taking piano lessons and she really wants you to come to the recital, so you get off work early and you go to the recital, and she wrote a song and she dedicated it to you. And she's all happy and she's smiling because she sees you out in the audience. And then she's in 9th grade and she has a date with a senior who drives a van. You tell me, how far is too far? How far do you want Mr. Senior with a van to go with your little girl? Do you want him to do absolutely everything he can get away with without technically having intercourse? I don't think so. I asked this question once, a girl said, not out of the driveway, man. A guy just yesterday said, holding hands, that's way too far. You are living chastity when you treat your dates the way you want Mr. Senior with a van to treat your little girl. Period. That's it. That's love. That's looking out for what's best for the other person. That's it. That's your standard. Now, I want to make one more extremely important point. Sex has physical consequences, it has emotional consequences, and also has spiritual consequences. St. Paul said, do not deceive yourselves, no fornicator will enter into the kingdom of heaven. I told you this is your choice. This is your decision. The church is not going to say, we know you're in there sinning. But Christ said, if you love me, keep my commandments. He never said, some of my followers follow my commandments and some of my followers don't. So this is really a part of the decision to follow Jesus Christ. But what does that say then? What does that say to people who've already done it? Oh, sweetheart, I'm sorry, you blew it. I'm sorry. God hates you now. We need to be very, very clear that God is absolutely, madly in love with you at every moment of your existence. He doesn't love you more when you're being good and less when you're being bad. When we sin, we turn away from him. But it's us turning away, not him. So what we need to do isn't say, oh, darn, I turned away from God. Why did I turn away from God? That was really stupid of me to turn away from God. What we need to do is turn back. Have you seen the movie Jesus of Nazareth? It's incredible. There's this great scene in the middle where Jesus is having dinner with the Pharisees. It's like being at an embassy, all right, a very important place. And they're having this very theological discussion about loving your neighbor and who is my neighbor. And Mary Magdalene comes screaming in. Mary Magdalene is depicted as a prostitute, all right? And she comes in screaming and crying, and they're trying to throw her out. You know, Jesus is a very important person, and she's yelling, and they're calling her names, and Jesus had let her stay. And she's at his feet crying and crying and crying, the way you cry when you know you've done something really wrong and you're really sorry. And he looks at her with this absolutely amazing look of love, and he says, your sins, and I know they are many, are forgiven you because of your great love. Go and sin no more. You guys, that's the way he looks at you. That's the way he looks at each and every one of us when we go to him and we say, I am so sorry. I'm going to try so hard not to let this happen again. I'm weak. Help me. Help me to be strong. Help me not to do this again. He takes us back. He loves us. What we're talking about here today is chastity, not necessarily virginity. Virginity refers to the past, and it cannot be changed. I don't want to downgrade virginity. It's beautiful. But it refers to the past, and it cannot be changed. Chastity is about the future. And anyone can have a chaste future, regardless of their past. Anyone can make a decision that from here on out, I'm going to live chastity. From here on out, regardless of my past, I understand now, and I want to live this way. I want to respect this language. I want to respect the language of sexuality. That's about the future. And anyone can do it. I don't want to hear about anyone leaving this room today and saying, well, it was a good talk, but it's too late for me. It is not too late for you. It is never too late for you. It's not too late for you if you're married, because married people need to live chastity too. It's more fun for them. But we all need to live respect for the language and the beauty of sexuality. We all do. So I encourage you today to make that decision. If you haven't already done so, think about it. I can't make you. I'm not going to follow you home. I'll be on an airplane going somewhere else. Write yourself a letter about what you heard today and what it means. And if you make this decision, which I encourage you to live chastity from here on out, it's going to take a little planning. It doesn't happen automatically. Don't date people who don't share your standards. Don't waste your time. Spend your time becoming the best you can so that you will attract the best other that you can.